care and to improve the experiences for any child that must be in foster care, their parents, and foster parents. It's difficult, but important work. It can come with great reward. When foster care is necessary, it's critical to make sure that we have the most loving and supportive, well-supported foster parents possible, and that they understand that their roles are temporary caregivers. Our goal is for reunification always. We believe that foster parents can provide incredible support, not just to the children, but to their parents too. And that providing that support to families is a true difference maker. The Ennis Center for Children, in fact, are working together to show what's possible when foster care is seen as a support to the entire family, not just the children. We believe that this purpose will improve everyone's experiences and enhance recruitment and retention of loving and foster parents. Through Congressman Kildee's work, this provides yet another voice to express the great need for our foster parents, as well as respite parents. We need you to be the light to those families and children. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here and for those comments and for your advocacy on behalf of kids. Look, this is a pretty simple story. We need to do what we can to improve the foster care system. This legislation would be a step toward doing that. The House of Representatives has done its work. We need the Senate to act and the President to sign the bill. That'll make a difference. Like I said, I worked at this agency in two different periods for almost 10 years. Still, believe it or not, as long ago as that was, I will run into adults who surprised me by telling me that they remember me when I was a child care worker or a group home manager here at Whaley Children's Center, and they'll remember some of the smallest gestures of kindness that a staff person may have shown them. And it reminds me that little things can be really big things in the life of a child. Just a 1 degree change in the trajectory of the life of a child can be enormous. I know it from my own personal experience. And so I know while this legislation might not be transformative in terms of policy, it could be transformative in the life of a child. And that's what this agency and the whole world would be better served if we were dedicated to it. So thanks to Whaley for the work you do. Any questions?
I don't know if you can address this, but foster parents, is there kind of an average time do people foster kids for?
Right now.
If you asked me, I'd give you like 40-year-old data, so I don't think I can do that.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm just curious what,
You know, the average amount of time that a foster parent is parenting at this point is the amount of time that they're in the court system. Once there's been reunification or there has been a termination of rights, you know, that's about the length of time. Right now, when you look at the balance of foster parents versus relative caregivers, kinship caregivers, it's about 70-30. So 30% are actual unrelated foster parents that are helping our kids in the system. So that's really why it's so important for us to push to have more foster parents. While it's best to have relative caregivers, they always aren't possible. It's just not possible all the time. Relative caregivers have their own issues. They have their own families. And it's very hard to be able to balance that with the trauma of the child being removed from the home and being in an unfamiliar environment. So it's very important for us to advocate for foster parents.
If someone just asked you, why should they sign up to be a foster parent? What would you tell them?
Why they should sign up, they can be the change. They can provide the support. They can help with the trauma that's associated with being removed from your home, removed from your family, being in a new school. All of those unfamiliar acts just compounds the need for that support from our foster families. Is it a transition? Absolutely. It is never easy going into an unfamiliar home. However, our foster parents have that love and support, and they just want to help those kids. They want to get those kids to a better place. And that's what's really important.
And what's the simplified version of how this bill addresses the issues?
Can you repeat that for me?
what is the simplified version, if you will, on how the bill addresses these issues?
Well, using data, data has become the norm here. And so by using data to help recruit foster parents, we can look at maybe there's some demographics. Maybe we've seen trends where types of families that are through churches, maybe they have more of a presence in the foster care system, wanting to be those foster parents. And so for us, looking at that data and being able to identify who are our strongest supporters, what is their familial background, that will help to support those constant recruitment and retention efforts.
One of the things, just to address that, one of the things I found most interesting, a couple of years ago began doing some work with foster youth that are aging out. And this particularly had to do with the challenges that they face in higher education, community college, post-high school training or four-year school. The system tends to assume that every student has, a family that is there supporting them, and that's not always the case. And these aging out foster youth had really important input that helped inform our work on the issues around higher education, and we've introduced legislation to address that. But I mention that to say that it occurred to me that these young adults who'd come through the foster system had a lot of wisdom. Based on a kind of experience that most of us can never even imagine. But they had a lot of wisdom about how the system could see them at times and address the challenges and the needs that they faced, but often how the system overlooked them and treated them as if they were a commodity in a process rather than a human being. That information is out there. These young people and some not so young people who come through the system have a lot to offer. Our legislation would require that as these plans are being developed for the recruitment and retention of foster families, that those voices will have an opportunity to be heard in that process. That's really important. Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else? Flying saucers, presidential elections, anything? All right. I did get a flying saucer question yesterday, by the way.
Doesn't shock me.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Appreciate
Mindy.
it. Thank you.
Great comments.
Thank you, Mindy.
I did great.
I have this, just so I have.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Last night is super cold. Last night super hot.
Is it really?
Yeah.